and you don't want to be one of those kinds of 6 who can be the rule.
Yeah, it's always time to I think. Program coordinator with the district.
Thank you. And for the record, counsel for the hearing board will not be present for today's meeting. However, we do have a legal counsel that is available for consult if needed. Let's go. Thank you. Now I will swear in those that will wish to provide testimony on any item on today's agenda. This includes petitioners, respondents, and APCD staff. Please raise your right hand for the swearing in. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in the matter before this hearing board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, Chair Schlick.
We will now move to non-agenda public communication. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the board on any subject matter within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. Mia, are there any members of the public that wish to address the board on this item today?
Thank you, Chair Schlick. We have received no requests from members of the public to address or for public communication on agenda item A today. However, if there are any members of the public on the line, please dial into the conference line now using the information that's provided on the screen. Seeing no hands raised, Chair Schlick, there are no members of the public wishing to provide public comment today.
Thank you. We will now move to approval of the December 5th, 2024 San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board Statement of Proceedings minutes. Before we proceed, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the board today on administrative item B?
Thank you, Chair Schlick. We have received no requests from members of the public wishing to provide public testimony on administrative item B. However, if there are any members of the public on the conference line now wishing to provide a public comment on administrative item B, please dial into the conference line now using the information reflected on your screen. Seeing no hands raised, there are no members of the public wishing to provide public comment on administrative item B today.
Okay, are there any comments or concerns about the minutes? Has everyone had a chance to review them? Would you like to put them up on the board? Okay. No comments. Okay. Great. Anyone else? No comments. Okay. Is there a motion for approval?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
So there is a motion by member Engelmann, seconded by member Zupo. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair Schlick. Member Engelmann? Member Zupo?
Aye.
Member Ross? Vice Chair Spencer?
Aye.
Chair Schlick?
Aye.
Madam Chair, that motion passes with all members present voting aye.
Thank you. We'll now move to selection of chair and vice chair for 2025. Are there any nominations for chair and vice chair from members of the board?
I will nominate Chair Schlick for chair. Are we doing vice chair as well?
Yes.
I will also nominate Vice Chair Spencer for vice chair.
Oh, that's very nice. Do you accept?
I do accept.
I accept the nomination. I'm happy to continue. This has been a really great experience. So, and I think our prior chair prepared us well. So it was just about this time last year.
It was
right?
about this time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, are there any other nominations for any other, chairs or vice chair? Okay, okay, so, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, so there's a motion by member Engelmann, seconded by member Zupo to nominate member Schlick for the seat of chair and member Spencer for the seat of vice chair. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair Schlick, Member Engelmann, Member Ross, Member Zupo,
Aye.
Vice Chair Spencer, Chair Schlick.
Aye.
That motion passes with all members present voting aye for the motion to nominate member Allison Schlick for the seat of chair and member Daniel Spencer for the seat of vice chair.
We will now move to the approval of the revised 2025 San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board meeting calendar. Before we proceed, Madam Clerk, have we received any requests from members of the public that wish to address the board today on administrative item D?
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have received no requests from members of the public to speak on administrative item D. However, if you just bear with me one moment.
Yes, you can.
If there are any members of the public wishing to provide public comment on administrative item D today, please dial into the conference line now using the information reflected on the screen. Vice Chair, I'm sorry, Chair Schlick, seeing no members of the public request with their hands raised. There are no members of the public wishing to provide comment on administrative item D. And just a small clarification for this item, it was the June dates that were off that we needed to adjust. So
Okay.
all other dates remained the same.
Okay, great.
The second and fourth. Thursday.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's okay. Great. So, are there, let's see, are there any comments from district staff and board members?
May I open it up to discussion with the address changing? If it's possible, maybe to discuss in another meeting time, someone with that school drop off. I'm worried I may not make it in time. I do have my husband to help, but he works, our schedules always change. And for me personally, maybe 9:30 or 10, because I'm coming from Carmel Valley. And so I make it here with 2 minutes to spare, but downtown I feel might be a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, for any time when someone is running late, if we don't have quorum, we'll just wait for you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the main thing about the 9 a.m. is to notice the public when they need to get here to sign in, check in, and all of that.
Oh, yeah, that's,
You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and without looking at that, I don't know how long it takes me. But we do have an office downtown. It generally takes 20 to 30 minutes, but I always leave whenever I feel like it. I don't leave at like a specific time, so I don't know during rush hour.
yeah.
That was the first thing I suggested. And really.
I would just like to interject for one moment, and if we could complete this, and then we can open up comments for tables, those comments for later.
Okay, so, well, because this hearing board calendar includes the hearings will commence at 9 a.m.
Correct, and I think that this would be a discussion that we would need to have. I need to double check into the hearing board rules and any other
Yeah,
administrative.
yeah, it's not like we can just
Codes.
change it, like willy-nilly right now. So, yeah,
Since we're doing calendar.
we could,
Includes. Me.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a great time for the comments. Yeah, but
It's no decision.
yeah, I don't think we can decide that, but, yeah, so maybe, but as far as the dates, or if the dates all look, and keeping in mind on any of these dates, it doesn't mean that there is going to be a meeting. We get the 10 days notice, and sometimes it gets adjourned.
Is there any way, if the concern is that having meetings that we voted on, can we say 9 a.m. or at the location? So change the verbiage to the hearings will commence at the location publicly noticed at 9 a.m. or as otherwise noticed. Can we do that?
I think we should check with our council, hearing board council, who's not present today. So why don't we put this as like a study issue? As far as.
How do others feel like that?
I think we also have a public notice concern. We will do change that today anyways. I'm assuming we're going to propose that change and notice it before we could.
Exactly, yeah. So but we can put it as a study issue and ask our hearing board council to look into whether we can have variable meeting times, just as long as it's not sooner than 9. Would it comply with this? Would we have to pass a whole new calendar for the year that, or can it be on a?
Well, technically, we're amending the calendar previously passed.
So we-
So we have a calendar on the books, and this doesn't
Correct.
affect anything until June. In
Correct.
terms of dates,
Oh,
so we
okay.
do have time to amend.
Okay,
At least that's my take on it. The whole of this.
because we passed the calendar already in
Correct.
December.
And just a little food for thought. It also depends on the availability of facilities. So since we're calendaring a year in advance, we would need to make sure that the facilities are available a year in advance. And since we are moving the location for security purposes, it might be an issue. They're not no longer our facilities, but
Yes.
county facilities.
Yeah, so, but if anyone is just running a little bit late, just make sure you have Mia's number and then, and then we would like hold for you if you're missing form or, or if not, if we're not missing form, then we could just.
Yeah. Just to add to it, too, because we're representing the public perspective.
Yes,
If it is in a different, I'm not familiar with that location, but assuming security is much more thorough. So I feel like the majority of
we're
the,
gonna have to get there earlier.
yeah, majority of the public will probably face this issue because the majority of the public has kids. And I think the public schools all start at 8, at least our district does.
It's been variable because about last year, they started having some school times, especially like middle school and high school, start later because kids need their sleep. But typically teachers want, like, I've had school starts times as early as like 7:50, 7:30, 7:35. So because some teachers just like to get off early. So there's the times of school times can really vary.
Okay.
And we're just asked, and we're doing a public service, so we're supposed to try to, just try to get everything in line.
And just another clarification, each meeting is noticed at least 10 days prior to the meeting. So there's 10 days advance notice for the public to be able to make arrangements as well.
So,
So I guess my take is that we probably need to make sure that changing the time or having the time be changeable is something. And before we agree to amend this, because we do have time, I think putting it as a study issue is probably a good idea, getting input from council. And then if we have to notice it to make a change, then we probably won't be able to make the change until the 20th because those the notice for the meeting on the 6th has already been sent.
that's right. Yes, so members, so Vice Chair Spencer, are you thinking that if we want to study this issue and just not approve the amended calendar yet, or should we have a motion to approve the amended calendar and then deal with the timing issue later?
Well, I think we're safe to deal with it later. I guess I'm trying. This is input. It's just something that I think is an option.
I agree. This is certainly worth study, and I don't see any reason to hold off on approving the change in dates in June. It doesn't preclude us from changing the time later.
Okay, so is there a motion then? Is there a motion to approve the amended date?
I move that approve the change in dates in June on the hearing board calendar.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. Is there any more discussion about the dates? Okay. Madam Clerk, will you please call them?
Thank you, Chair Schlick. Member Engelmann, Member Roth, Member Zupo,
Aye.
Vice Chair Spencer, Chair Schlick. Thank you. That motion passes with all members of the board with all members of the board, voting aye. I'm so sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Brain fog.
So let's just put, as a matter, to add to the next meeting agenda. That would be, for the next meeting that could be noticed, and ask our council to look into if we could have a 9:30 start time, for instance. And if that would, and ask if the district staff could look into if facilities could accommodate that. Or if we need to keep it at 9 and then, like, generally speaking, or if, or if we can change it meeting by meeting. Because I know, like, some meetings, we know that there's going to be like a lot of petitions. You know what I mean? If there's 2 petitions, maybe we would want to start at 9, because otherwise we might be here until 5. So, I mean, there's that. That's the other thing too, is because if it's an all day thing, most of the time, we're done maybe latest noon or 1 or 2, but that would be later if we start later. So, just we have to think about that too.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Been through 8-hour hearings with the South Coast.
Yes.
The tricky thing was, I found personally at the time I was not a member of the hearing board. I was just the general public with 2 kids.
Yes.
And I could never make the public comment timeframe of the drop off. So I found that incredibly frustrating. So I felt like they created this barrier where they didn't want to listen to the majority of the population that had the concerns, because we had concerns as we had young kids and we're near the factories. But I couldn't make the public comment because I had school drop off. And
That was before things like calling into meetings, though, right? You had to be there in person.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's true. That's
Yes.
a good point, because now you can call in. So
Yes.
that makes sense. And I always try to be mindful. I know you can make accommodations for your children, but if your children have a special needs, you
Oh,
can't.
yeah, that's
And
right.
our son, I can't do for school care.
Yes.
We only accommodate during school hours. So I always try to be mindful, but like you mentioned, there is the call in now.
I think it's opened up a whole world of opportunity. We've had a lot of great public comments come in from a lot of community members that I don't think it would have been very, I mean, we're not very really near. We are on a bus line here, but it's still it's not a very often bus line.
No.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point. And I forgot about that. I'm like so stuck in the past where you had to be there and it was impossible.
Yeah. So I think things have gotten better. But nevertheless, we'll put that as a study item for council and the district, and just if there is a report available before the next notice meeting, just to discuss. But as far as voting on any changes to the time, that would have to be like noticed. Yeah, that would have to be noticed for the 20th, the meeting on the February 20th. Okay. So, thank you, everyone. There are no petitions before the board today. So this concludes the hearing board business for the regular meeting of January 23rd, 2025. The next regular meeting of the San Diego Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board will take place February 6th, 2025 at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
And that's going to be downtown.
Downtown.
For that, we have 2 new Blackman's investigators and kind of staff. So they're here today, so that I can kind of introduce them.
Shadowing.
Yeah, exactly. So Lindsay was hired February 18th. Okay, that's not right. And she's been an inspector here for 4 years.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And then Rocio joined us on November 1st. And she was an inspector as well, but with bad weights and measures.
Oh, yes.
So eventually, maybe at some point later in the year, they're going to be presenting some petitions.
Yeah, nice. So now you're civil action investigators, right? So you'll be you would be here testifying. Now, what's your name again from Ag Weights and Measures? Rocio. I did graduate student work there during law school at Ag Weights and Measures. That was probably around 2000. Anyway, who's the sealer right now? Yeah. Oh, she's still there. That's wonderful. She's so nice. Well, great. Okay, well, so that concludes everything. Are we offline now?